The phrase the Uncanny Valley was first actually coined by a robotics scientist from Japan called Masahiro Mori. And this was in the 70s. He was a robotics creator that created robots that became so human-like that they became like awkward for someone who didn't know about robotics to look at. So he created a theory called the Uncanny Valley, and this is a graph that depicts how human-like a robot or something is over how much a human will like it. So this is the graph in which the Uncanny Valley is actually seen to the right-hand side. It's the dip there. This is emotional response, is how much we like the robot or the animated character, and the anthropomorphism is how much like a human it is. However, the Uncanny Valley we are concerned with is the dip in the graph, where you become more human-like before being fully human, that it just completely drops off. This is because we find it extremely awkward to look at. So within animation, we want to be looking for either of the two peaks each side of the Uncanny Valley. This first one on the left would be stylization. This would be more towards animated films where we understand that the characters are not human. We, however, do notice their human-like characteristics. For example, later on in the video, I'm going to be talking about Toy Story 2. And the other side, which is the more photorealistic side, where an animator has set out to create something that looks indistinguishable from a human. My example for this will come from the Polar Express. So first of all, I'm going to take an extract from Toy Story 2 that includes both one of the toys and one of the humanoid presented characters from the film. Now this is, we're looking at the left-hand side of the Uncanny Valley, which is talking about stylization of the characters, and we can, from this clip, obviously see that the characters are non-human, but we accept their human-like characteristics. For example, like Jessie just blinked there and she's smiling and giving facial expressions off. Another example shown here will be where the child is running with Jessie, and then she goes up to the rope swing and they begin swinging on the rope, and she's kicking her legs and holding on to Jessie as well. These are just obvious human traits which we accept to be real in this circumstance of the film. And then at this part we get a better look at Jessie actually moving herself. Like, you can tell from the way that she is as a toy, her arms, like, they morph in slightly at the elbow, so it's very tight knit, but the actual shape of her arm is still there, and the movement within her body is fluent, like a human's. So next I'm going to take a look at the Polar Express. And within this animated movie, it's pretty clear that the movie is animated for a start. However, it's beginning to push the limits of animation for its time. This is shown by the attempt in detailing the characters. For example, they're not as cartoon-like as those in Toy Story. However, when in relation to the Uncanny Valley, it's not completely over the valley by any means. Now, the way that the Uncanny Valley works is that the highest point on the right-hand side of the graph, where the character, this is considered where the character is indistinguishable from a human. So in other words, we can't tell that it's a non-human. And the Polar Express kind of gets stuck in the climb out of the dip on the right-hand side. So how can we identify this? Well, while the characters are singing, it's quite awkward to look at. This may not be apparent for every single viewer, but the way in which that the characters move their lips and the way that their facial muscles react to this is very creepy and in some respects dull. For example, it's not entirely enjoyable to look at. We can tell that they're not moving like a human's mouth should be, and as a human ourselves, this becomes a problem for us to accept, the way we look at them. This pretty much thwarts the attempt at photorealism within the film. Photorealism is a very delicate subject within animation because there are such high number of variables that have to be perfect in order to achieve success. This is also a huge part in why most movies that attempt a photorealistic style flop and receive bad reviews or perhaps a poor turnover within the market. It's such a risk to do because one variable could be off and then everything tumbles back down into the Uncanny Valley. So, in conclusion, I think that the Uncanny Valley will still be around for a while and perhaps will be present always within animation and robotics. However, it's definitely something that animators and roboticists alike can, and I think eventually will, overcome due to technological advancements and knowledge. The only thing that could possibly hold them back are perhaps money and time issues.